Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for joining me today on my Facebook Live. I've got a lovely card fun fold for you today, and I'm looking forward to sharing that. A couple of things this week. It's a new month, so we have some new kits have just landed in the store. There's one for Halloween, which is it's called Sweet and Spooky, and it's some treat boxes for your Halloween treat gift giving. And there's also a really sweet little set kit called Birthday Fancy, which is sort of fashioned along the lines of like a high tea. So there's all these pretty cake stands and cakes and things like that. So two really, really cute little kits that have just joined us. And also there's a whole bunch of new online exclusives have just landed as well. So I'll send you a link to all of that in my email that comes out with the tutorial. But if you want to just have a sneaky look, then you can just go to the website, stampinup.nz, and go to menu, what's new, and new arrivals. And then you'll see all of the online exclusives and the kits in that section. Okay, I'm just going to double check that we are all go here with the sound. Won't be a tick. The online exclusive. Okay, goody. Right, we'll pop that to the side. And I'll flip the camera. Right, so today we're doing a fun fold, like I say, and I'm using the Florals and Blooms Suite collection. So this is on pages 40 to 47 of the annual catalogue. And it's a really fun, bright, vibrant, floral, pretty set. And the paper is just gorgeous. So there's actually 2 stamp sets and 2 sets of dies for this one. And today I'll be using these dies and the Sweet Blooms bundle. Not actually using anything from that set today, but I have used that one before, so you might have seen that already. And then we're using some of this really pretty paper as well on our card. And I just wanted to point out that the paper actually lines up with some of the dies, so you can directly cut some of these beautiful flowers out of the paper. Or you can, of course, fussy cut if you want different images from the paper. So a really lovely set. And there's one more page where they show you how to combine the pieces to make a flower. So there's really good information here in the catalogue and how to, different ways you can use the dies for the words. And look at this. Isn't this incredible what they've made here? That would be lovely to create, wouldn't it? All those flowers. So I'll show you the card. So I've already gone ahead and made one because I wanted to see how it came out. And I'm going to make another one in a different pattern. So this is our fun fold here, and it's called a hidden gate fold. So when you open the card, you've got beautiful paper sitting here, and that's your gate fold hidden away in the centre of the card. So quite a pretty one. Lovely way to use your paper. So you're seeing both sides of the pretty paper here, and that's what I loved about this. And it only uses half a sheet to make the whole card. So it's quite economical as well. So we'll just put that one aside and I'll show you how to cut the paper. So to make the most of the paper, well, in this case, I want the stripes of the back to go, what is that, vertical rather than horizontal. So I'm checking where my stripes are heading rather than the floral, because the floral's kind of all over and can go in any direction. So I want these running downwards. So what I'm going to do is turn it this way because I'm cutting my height. And first of all, I'm going to cut it for metric. It's at 14.9 because on the front of my card, the DSP runs from top to bottom. So I need to cut that height first. So that's that. And I've got that piece for later. So we'll put that to one side. Okay, so now we've got our florals on this side and our stripe running that direction. And I'm going to cut the length next. So I'm cutting the length for my inside piece, this piece here. And in metric, that is 20 centimetres. So we'll cut that. And then we can just, while that's here, we'll cut the height. So the height we want for the inside is 14.4. Okay. Oh, and still while it's in there, I may as well do scoring. So the scoring is 5. And you can decide, of course, if you want to see the stripy side or the floral side inside the card. I can do it this way. 5 and 15. Yes, that's correct. Just doing the maths in my head. Okay, so we've got our 2 scores there. Now, going back to the front of the card, I have a gap on either side. This is actually based off one of the samples in the catalogue. So you've got that gap of the card showing through on the sides. So I want this at about, I think I did 8.5. It's worth cutting a bit off because we can use this bit for something else. So we'll cut that off. So that's the width, my finished sort of width I want. And then I want to see a little bit of this paper. So I'm going to cut it at 2.5. So I've got this piece for another project. It's lovely to put that on your inside the card, or you could use it for one of those scrappy techniques where you glue them all to a piece with a little gap in between and make use of all your scrappy bits. So keep hold of that for something else. And then this one is going to turn like that and be layered for the front. And that's all our cutting. Cutting and scoring is all done. So now, because I've cut the paper when it was facing that way, I've got a little rolled edge on this side. So to get rid of that, you just use your bone folder and it just smooths out that cut edge. Actually, I'm doing it on the wrong side. I think I might need a new blade in my trimmer. Yeah, so I've smoothed out those edges. So now when I put them together, it's a lot cleaner. Now, the front of this one, I thought would look nice with Blackberry Bliss. So this is one I haven't used in ages, actually. It's funny how some colours just seem to come in and out of sort of fashion. I don't know. Just neatening up that top where I've cut it. Yeah, I must need a new blade. What you can do is just grab a nail file, and then we have one in my stash, and just run it across there just to get rid of that sort of slightly furry edge. Just a little emery board. Does a pretty good job. Okay, so now these, I'm just going to overlap the floral one over the stripe. So I'll stick now I'm just thinking this glue I think is running out. I had another one somewhere. Oh, this one feels like it's got some in it. Okay. Now it looks like my paper might be slightly long. So I'll line it up at the top. So I'm just going to guess really where this is going to go. So I've got that sort of centimetre gap on that side. I'm putting it right at the top, at the fold at the top here, and then just bringing it down, and we'll just trim off any extra that's overhanging afterwards. I could have actually used this colour as the card base too, couldn't I? This is cloud cover, really, really pretty blue, soft blue. So I want about the same gap on this side, so that just gives you an overlap of a tiny sort of like 3mm maybe over that other one, and just bring it right up to the top. Looks slightly crooked to my eye, but I think it's fine. So then to trim off this little extra bit, because it's so thin, we'll just come and look from the other side and just run our scissors along here using the edge of the card as a guide. It's just a little bit tricky where they overlap, but we're only cutting DSP, so it's pretty good. And then that gives us a nice neat finish at the bottom. Okay, now for the front, I'm using the word lovely from the, which set is that one from? The Sweet Blooms dies. So you've got lovely and you've got bloom, and they both work the same in that you get one that's a slightly more detailed. So in this case, the white one is slightly smaller than the background one, and it's got more cut out, so you get to see that lovely background colour through. And you can do it the other way as well. So when I was practicing and playing with what the colours I was going to use, I did one with the white on the front, and I did one with the white at the back with the garden green on the front. So there's two different ways you can layer your letters. They look great too with black. And I thought I would show how to use the adhesive sheets. That's when you're doing something. So I've gone ahead and already cut out the larger one with the Blackberry Bliss. So that's ready to go. And I'm going to do a white now to go over the top. And when you're dealing with something sort of this thin, it can be tricky to get the glue on there without sticking yourself to the project. So this is an alternative way. This is a adhesive sheet, and I've cut it to the size of my card roughly, and I'm just peeling off the backing, and then this sticks to the back of where I'm going to cut my word from. And I've got a little bit showing through there because I've already cut a word from this, but that will be fine. And then I'm going to lay my die on there. And I'll just run this through the cut and emboss machine and show you. So it creates like a sticker. I should have got my mini machine out and shown you. It would have gone through, but never mind. I'm sure you've seen embossing machines in action. Oops, now it's all sticking to the, okay. It stuck a little bit to my bottom plate because my bottom plate is quite well loved, and it's got a lot of texture, shall we say, from all the cuts. Okay, so now we'll just separate this from the die and the card. Just one bit there that was sticking. Right, there we go. Okay, so here's our lovely word. And then we can just, so I tend to go a little bit at a time. If you pull the whole lot off, your fingers will stick to the back of it. I'm just going to do the weeding, get rid of these bits I don't need. Just poke that little bit out. Yeah, so it's nice to have something to hold on to. So I will just pull a little bit of that backing, maybe up to there, and just cut that off and leave the rest on. Oops. So I can now hold on to the E. Now I've got something on there. Okay. So I could actually even lay this down on the E, O, V, just to figure out where it goes. So it is a bit bendy, and so you do have to be careful that you're putting it, it will sort of bend into any shape. If I get my E down, then I can figure out the L. And the Y. Oh. So the worst part for getting out of shape is the big tail on the Y. So we'll just carefully maneuver that into position. So I'm just trying to make sure I've got a gap of the Blackberry Bliss showing behind, and that L has moved slightly. So you do have a little bit of time to play with it, with this, it wasn't stuck too firmly. And then you can just move your backing along and stick another bit down and just move along the word. You'll see what I mean about, so that L was a little bit too far to the right, so, but I think I've saved it. So then the V can go down, and then we'll just pull a bit more out. Oops, it broke off, that's fine. Start from, just get rid of that last bit. So it is still a little bit tricky. Tweezers might help, but at least I'm not gluey. So the adhesive sheets are quite good in that regard. So this time I'm going to try and come down a bit, that O. And the more you do it, of course, the better you will get. There we go, pretty good. So that is going to go on the front, and I'm going to use dimensionals, and this is where I use up all my edge pieces. Get rid of that. So I just cut into these edge pieces. I like to just cut a whole lot, and then they're just ready for use. And I might even cut some in half, because some of these parts are quite small. So like in that circle, I don't quite put one on every letter, but it's pretty close to it. One there, and we'll do one. So I now want a skinny little one for in there. And then that little leftover piece could go down there on the L. And then for these other bits here, I want some sort of skinny bits. So you can actually cut them this way as well. Backing stayed on that bit. Okay, and then I've got the leftover. So maybe one there at that junction, and then one more skinny. Might have to cut the point off there. Yeah, so they're quite easy to cut up. And just place, oops. So you just want them so they're not going to be seen. There we go, and I think that backing stayed on that piece as well. Right, so we've got the dimensionals on. Welcome along to those who are joining live. Hi, Kathleen. Lovely to have you here. Okay. So now this, I'm putting on an angle. I think in the book they might have put it straight, but I quite like it on the angle. And maybe a touch higher, maybe about there. Okay. Then we've got just a couple of words. So in the set you get some other words so you can have a and it's a day, hello and let joy. So you can make different sentiments. So I'm using have a and day. So I've got them mounted on a block just together. And when I stamp them, I'll cut them out separately. Now, I can't remember which piece I was going to use. I think it will fit on there. And I thought I would use the Blackberry Bliss for this. We'll see how it looks, because it might be quite nice with the blue as well, you know, the cloud cover. But I think that will stand out nicely, so we might just do that. And then I'll just separate the words. I'm slightly on an angle. I must have had it mounted a little bit crooked. I don't think it matters. Bugs me a little bit. Oh dear. Ever so slight, but okay, happy with that. So these are also going to go on dimensionals. So I've got a few of those edge pieces left here. Just one under there. And I might, I've got some half, I've got some half bits, so let's use those up. This longer size kind of needs two, I feel. And then these can go on an angle, they can go straight, however you like. So I don't want to go quite the same angle. I like an angle, but a different angle. And then put the day maybe down. Oh, that day over there looks nice, doesn't it? Okay, so we'll move on to the inside. And this is a direction I don't do all that often, but this sort of portrait one that lifts in the front, but it's quite exciting doing something different. So with our DSP piece that we've done for the inside, we're just going to fold these score lines into the center. So this one, instead of just folding and burnishing, I'm making sure it doesn't overlap before I'm burnishing, because I want them to meet nicely in the middle. So just double checking the cut there and smoothing away those cut lines again, and maybe doing a little nail maintenance with my emery board. Just a little bit furry there. Probably doesn't show up on the camera, but there we are. Okay, so we have our beautiful paper here that's going to go on the inside. So we can just stick that straight in. So I've made it the size, this back part is the size that you would normally put your inner. So it's got a gap of the base card all the way around. So I find it's easiest to have it folded. So you can sort of see that gap and position it in the centre, and the Tombow gives me a little bit of wiggle room. So I guess the main thing is just to make sure if your paper is sort of directional, is to have it up the right way. So that's the inside now. And what I've done for there is I've die cut from Textured Notes dies. This one has a whole lot of rectangle frames, different sizes with different patterns. And I thought that looked really nice for the inside where you will write your message. Just a bit more decorative than having a plain rectangle piece. So I'm centering this as well. Looks about right. And then to bring in the colours again from the paper and bring something through, because I've ended up with, well, I like seeing this pretty one here rather than seeing that one here with the pretty one. I just feel it, your message will stand out more on this plainer side of the paper, but I wanted to bring a bit of that floral through. So I've die cut a flower, and this is from one of the die sets in the suite, Pretty Florals dies. So this is where you die cut. These are the ones that die cut the flowers from the paper. And then this is the leaf I've used, and the two layers make this flower. So I've gone ahead and cut this. This is from the Fresh Freesia, and this is from Blackberry Bliss. And this I've done the adhesive sheet on, so we can just peel and stick, hopefully. So I'll take that off in one go this time. And this, it's a little bit hard to know where to put things, but this sort of loop here seems to go on the edge of that petal. So that's what I'm aiming for there. And obviously you want this to be on the card. So I'm kind of going about there like that. So it just gives that great detail in the centre of the flower. And the leaves are done in garden green. I didn't do the adhesive sheet on that, so I'll just pop some Tombow. And then I want the leaves to stick out from the flower, and I've got to be careful where I put the flower so that the card will still close. So you've got this part of that petal. So I do it on a bit of an angle. I want the leaves to be sticking out about here. Like that. And then this will stick flat, of course, because it's going inside the card. So I'll just put it where I think, and then just bring that side up and make sure you can fold that over still. So it can't go, right in the crease. But that's the inside. How pretty. Wouldn't you love to receive that? And that's the outside of our hidden gatefold card. So quite quick once you've done that cutting and scoring. Probably the longest thing was putting the letters onto the other layer of the lovely there. And I've just thought that I have forgotten. Oh my goodness, some of you will be, how could you forget the bling? So I do have some purpley. These are the purple gems, I think. Yeah, purple fine shimmer gems. So I'm thinking that those look pretty good, actually. Oh dear, where's my little tool got to? Oh, I think we were using it in the weekend. Let's see if I've got one over here. Here we go. I didn't put any on the other card either. Sacrilege. I think maybe there. Yeah, these are pretty. So I'll do 2 large. Go up here for the other ones. And 1 smaller one. And then I better put some on this one as well. I don't know if we'd use the same. It's not quite right. And I think this purple is not quite right. They're just missing slightly on that one. I don't think I've got anything fresh freezery. Got these tinsel gems. That looks like it might work. Yeah. They're shiny, slightly pinky, purpley. Put on that one, I think. Oops, got a piece of dimensional there. And then I'm not even sure if these are still available, but you get the idea. You put something pretty and sparkly on. There we go. All dressed up. So that is 2 different colour combinations for the hidden gatefold card. And the layout for the front, like I say, was cased from a sample in the catalogue. And that's my 2 different colours. So this one I used Pretty in Pink for the flower and with Strawberry Slush for the inside part. And I used the same Garden Green for both. Yeah, so I hope you enjoy that. And I'd love to see if you make a hidden gatefold card and what you come up with. You can always post things in the comments. I'd love to see your pictures in the comments on the video. That would be fantastic. Or you can just email it to me if you want to keep it between us. That's all fine too. And I will see you again next week. Happy crafting.